Hello, boys and girls, ladies and gents. This is DafubFilm&TV, and lo and behold, Disney is starting to release more new content. I'm sure they've been releasing content over the last couple of months since The Mandalorian came to an end, but it wasn't anything I was interested in, so I didn't watch it. But now we have a new Marvel Cinematic Universe, although it's not actually in the cinema, streaming show, which is Secret Invasion. Now, I believe this is derived or based off a storyline in the comics that ran for a good bit and was had lots of crossovers in it. Apparently, was very very successful and very very well liked. That's literally all I know about it. Basically, it involves the Skrulls, which are these aliens, which are like shapeshifters, so they can impersonate anyone they want to, and they were secretly impersonating various Avengers and other characters in the comic books. And it was all, ooh, who's a Skrull and who isn't a Skrull, conspiracy theory this, paranoia that, and so on. Again, some of this is what I'm assuming because I've not read the comics. It's the comics this story is from at all. So you'll just have to quote unquote trust me on this. But apart from that, I know nothing else about it. So going on the first episode again, compared to the Mandalorian season 3, the first episode of the Mandalorian season 3 was a short, kind of disorganized mess. And this episode, at about 50 minutes long, I think, including the credits, is much longer than that. It's, in my opinion, much better written, although that doesn't necessarily, mean anything considering how much of a train wreck season 3 of The Mandalorian was. I watched it in 4K and HDR. It looked good. In my opinion, it looked good. It didn't look cheap. Again, there was no. Again, so far we've, with the exception of the, again, spoiler warnings. If I've already seen the episode, I might say something that from it that you might not want to see or hear until you've seen the episode yourself. So warning there. But as it stands, the special effects look fine. We haven't seen much of it. Where we've seen a few Skrulls turn into Skrulls that were previously humans. The kind of that transition process, the CGI to me seems fine. You see a few sequences where there are clearly people kind of wearing masks and suits, but they don't look cheap or crappy prosthetics. So it's nothing wrong from a production value there. There seems to be a lot of kind of location shooting, which is good. There seems to be when they are potentially using sets, they look to be of a pretty high standard as far as I'm concerned. Again, the show doesn't look cheap. Credit where credit is due. In terms of the story, it's your usual kind of conspiracy theory, aliens among us, fare. There's been not one. There's no Avengers in this episode. It's just some of the the more non-special characters. Maria Hill is in it, and so on. Obviously, what is his name again? I have forgotten his name off the top of my head, even though he's the main kind of star of the show and the episode. Oh yes, Nick Fury. That's it. Nick Fury, played by Samuel L. Jackson, as always. Is in this in the episode. I think he's the principal star of the show, and both the actor and the character. And yeah, he does very well. There's a kind of a story thread / undertone about kind of maybe post-traumatic stress disorder. How when he came back from the blip, he was different from when he was before the blip, and so on. But whether that'll go anywhere, again, I don't know. The episode overall is, as I've already said, the production values are perfectly acceptable so far. Again, I always prefer location shooting over shooting on sets where possible. And so this is This is, again, compared to, the last season of programming I watched on Disney Plus, again, season 3 of The Mandalorian. This is a big step up over the first episode of season 3 of The Mandalorian. Whether it goes anywhere from here, I don't know. But season 3 of The Mandalorian, to my mind, was a disorganized, uneven, badly written, both as on a per episode basis and as a season overall show. And so far, this is, it's not necessarily, it's not, to me, it doesn't set the world on fire as far as I'm concerned, but it's a lot better than what we got from both the first episode of season 3 of The Mandalorian and most of the episodes we got of The Mandalorian season 3. So hopefully that'll be, hopefully that's a good portent, or that portends, I think that's the right term to use, or word to use, quite well for this show. The one problem / negative that I would put forward is, firstly, we've seen no kind of characters, as I said already, with kind of superpowers are only going to turn up. I don't know. And is the production budget, this is fine for the first episode, but if this is supposed to be an action orientated show, with a kind of with a wow factor, again, we're talking about big budget streaming television here. I'm not sure if the audience for Marvel TV shows and movies is going to be happy with a bunch of kind of quote unquote normies running about the place, dealing with shape shifting aliens. They'll have to bring in some bigger guns, metaphorically and literally speaking. They want to kind of ramp up the show over the course of a season. And maybe that will happen, maybe it won't. If it doesn't, I don't know what the consumer expectations are going to be, but considering the kind of the standard that's been set by the Marvel movies, and to varying degrees by the Marvel streaming shows, although I didn't bother to watch Moon Knight. I didn't like Miss Marvel. I mean, the list could go on and on. Not a particularly big fan of them. I thought Loki was okay, but yeah, I don't. If this is the kind of the scale of the action we get throughout the entire run of the show, it's going to be something of a damp squib, and I don't think it's going to help Disney Plus, and I don't think it's going to help Marvel get out of the bit of a malaise it currently is in. Anyway, let me know what you think in the comments. Please like the video, and if for some strange reason you haven't already subscribed to enjoy more scintillating content just like this, please do subscribe, and please ring the bell to get notifications for when new content from me drops. This is DafubFilm&TV. I'm not terribly excited / impressed, but it hasn't been a letdown either. So, and it's certainly an upgrade over episode 1 of the last season of The Mandalorian. So maybe fingers crossed, it'll get better from here. But we'll see how it goes. This is DafubFilm&TV signing off. Toodaloo.